All right, so you're gonna lie flat in this position. Head, neck, and trunk are straight. Good, you relaxed your legs. And then you're gonna focus on your breathing. So feel that as you inhale, your belly presses into the pillow. As you exhale, it releases that. Now do 10 deep breaths, which we won't do all of them right now, but we'll go through the cues so that as you're inhaling, not only is the belly pressing, but the back is rising. You've got to image that. Yeah, because visually you'll see on the film here that the lower back has a really nice rhythmical opening to it as you inhale and then sagging. So this is great microcirculation and great calming effect of the tissues. And you keep relaxing upper body, lower body. Good. All right, now when you're done with this position, come to that propped on your elbows. Good, so you do the same breathing style. And if you wanted to, you can do your iPad work or something to keep you in the position for minutes now, rather than doing 10 breaths. Unless we're using this as a short break.
Yeah, because I feel tension in there when I'm like this.
Okay, so if you feel tension in that, so now we added pillows, how's that?
Better.
So that's your guide.
Yeah.
Over time, you might find you don't need so much, but don't be in a rush to remove the pillows. Support, because we still have backward bending, we still have what we want. We'll have you a little bit more extended, and I like this position a lot for you, and it worked. Okay, so if you can sustain that for minutes, you do that. Again, your symptoms are your absolute guide. So some days you might find it works better, and other days it works less, okay? Then from here you go into child's pose. So sometimes you might have your knees that space, sometimes you might have your knees wider. There's no prescription, again. It goes by what you feel comfortable and easeful. Again, that breath. Really image also the belly and back movement. And you can do maybe half the amount of breaths that you did when you were lying. Okay. So after that, we'll go to the next series. So now you come into the Maryland position or head and hand position. Your hips and knees are bent at 90 degrees. We'll just review all that kind of information. You're going to need to brace the lower ribs and the pelvis towards each other so that your lower back does not arch. And you're going to do the mid-chest to throat hollowing and arching, right? So when you hollow, actually get movement, dropping of that chest, that's it, and then pushing forward, that's it. And I like the monitoring hand, that's excellent, so that you just dampen the amount in your lower back happening. And I'll even use the bottom shoulder blade to squeeze my chest forward, my throat forward. Lift my chin a little bit, my head goes back a little bit too. Right, and then that's it, So it's like bowing, and then opposite movement. Excellent. You do that, X amount of times, 8, 10 times. Then the next position, the second position, is head on the arm. The arm is straight, in line with the spine, right? You check again the hips and knees. You have that bracing of the ribs and pelvis. You're not going to let now the top leg roll on the bottom leg. And you do that really well, so that doesn't seem a problem. And the movement here now is the top arm, and say that the floor is there, and you're reaching forward, and your head is coming off your arm to where you would have the ear touching the floor or bed, and it would slide almost in this case to the edge of the table. Okay. Now your arm, just make sure that your arm is actually down. So in this case, you could put your elbow on the table, forearm on the table, and you just slide your elbow off the table. Yeah, see how it does that?
Yeah.
Now, just check your lower body. And then go back. So roll the head back onto the arm. And the less you can have the hips and legs move, which you're doing really well, the better you'll isolate the movement to the upper back. And then at some point, keep going. So I'm going to put my hand here, and this area you want to almost keep going back. So you're going to flex or round, dropping these, so that you don't allow this to come forward here, but the shoulder and head comes forward. Now this is a really hard variation, but it's sometimes worth it. So you keep that here, the ribs to the pelvis, good, as you keep rolling. And you're doing really well. You're doing really, really well. Okay. All right. Next one. The next one, so you slide, just because of you're on the table versus the floor. Your head is on your arm. This one has a test to it. So bend your knees up a little more. Hips, like I would say that's 90 now. And I'm always looking from the ceiling down to the floor angle to check the hip and knee bending. So my top arm, it just rolls around, and I have a test. Does it reach along the floor, especially in that 12? So it's to 9 area of the clock. All right, so then you're going to now work the hand behind the head. No, other hand. So your right hand behind the head. So in this one, you're going to squeeze the shoulder blade and the elbow towards the floor. As you try to keep these ribs here, keeping you forward, you see, because when these ribs come forward, then your elbow comes forward, right? So you're actually trying to, yes, move in two different directions, this coming forward as the shoulder blade, which drives the elbow back. Yeah, so it's a pretty strong, so go back with the elbow. So if I'm just going to see, pressing, you're really pushing back hard. Yeah, that hard from the shoulder blade, squeezing. Because we want the upper chest to learn how to move as much as possible with very little of the lower trunk moving. Okay?
Okay.
Good. So those are the 3 movements, and of course you do them to both sides.
Okay.
So now you can use this forward bending test, right, just to see where you're at. And I wouldn't repeat it frequently, but you're just going to go, And if your movement is reaching to that point, we're in good shape. Okay, come back up. If the movement comparatively to the one initial time that you did it is less, then we know the body is not responding well for some reason. And we either have to change our program or we got to have a rest day. I would take a rest day, first of all.